Hi guys, it's one of those typical October days where it's quite grey. The only thing which is unusual is that it's quite warm. Yesterday we had sunshine and 18 degrees. Felt kind of strange. Most of the trees have thrown off their leaves, or most of the leaves, so I've been collecting mulch. All this area was like this high with birch leaves, so I could go 5 meters, then the mower was full. I'm half done here. Most of the trees got their ring of mulch around them. The front garden is mulched. Depending on which area I was collecting on, it has some more grass in it, and some areas are just pure leaves. But anyways, back there, far away at the forest, you can see the farmer with a tractor. He's going to till. Over the field. That means no deer in winter on the field, which is good. I like to see them, but they like to come into my garden and eat my trees, so it's good to have them in the forest. They can eat forest trees. But anyways, since I needed a break from collecting mulch, the drive broke again, so I'm pushing this thing around on the moss and on these slopes. That's too much for my asthma. I need a break, and since I want to do gnocchis today, I need potatoes. So we're going into the root cellar and I'll do a storage video. So here you can see the root cellar. I'm not the tallest person, but this is around shoulder high for me. So the door is smaller than it appears, which is quite typical for these kind of buildings. So that's maybe 2 meter 20 high up there above the ground, built into a ground difference. The property is going up towards the south, and it goes down. That's a big stair and 3 regular stairs. So the ground level down there is about 1 meter and 50 below the ground. If we're digging down water pipes in this area, we need to go down into the ground 1 meter and 50 to guarantee that they're frost free. So a root cellar, which is supposed to stay frost free, needs quite a substantial amount of soil above it, and go down at least 1 meter and 50. This whole thing isn't too old. It's maybe from the 50s or 60s, so it's made in concrete and has about 50 centimeters of soil on the concrete. It has a ventilation on the top, which is important. You want ventilation because it will become too wet in the root cellar if you don't have ventilation. Lights on. Here you can see two other important things. That's salt, and it's supposed to take out the moisture. I have one here because if I don't have one, the upper part here, it freezes in this little staircase, and when I breathe and bring in more moisture in winter, there's going to be ice here, and you don't want that. So having one of these permanently in the room is a good thing. Other important feature is a mouse trap. You don't want mice with the potatoes because they will chew on each one of them. I don't have mice here, but just better safe than sorry. I'll go load up this one because mouse season is starting. The doors are not particularly thick, so but they're insulating things well enough to keep the frost out. In this room I might have some frost during winter when it's really cold, but this one stays between 5 degrees and 10 degrees all year. And that's where the potatoes are. That's where my dahlias are. I just have built in kind of a pallet here to get them off the ground. And then there's the different buckets and bad lighting. Best buckets for storing them are these mesh buckets, but they're increasingly hard to buy, and I just lost 5 of my old ones because they were very old and rusty and lost the bottom. But you want to store your potatoes in a way so they can get air flow around. So the buckets are not the best choice. I will have to go through the potatoes and check if there's any rot going on frequently. So most of the buckets where I haven't taken seed tubers yet still have their label inside, so I know where I am not supposed to eat all of them. There's smaller buckets for the ones where I don't have too many seed potatoes, and bigger buckets for or where I don't have too many storage tubers, and smaller buckets for the ones where where it's not that many. They're like everywhere. So now when I'm storing them, the good potatoes go into the bottom of the bucket to be used last. When I'm filling up the bucket, there's the damaged ones going on top, or the funny shapes which don't keep well, and all the small ones, those go on the top, so they can be used first. And all the ones where I'm kind of suspicious also go on the top, and that's the reason why. Here you can see one, it's starting to mold, so that one will go out, and that's what I do frequently when they're fresh in storage. I will check through them and throw out the ones which won't keep. And that's also the time when I make the potato dough dumplings, because there's a lot of them not keeping for too long, and before they go bad, like there's really scabby ones, and those need to be used within some weeks. So and since the knödel potato dumpling things need to be peeled potatoes, that's the perfect use for them. All the bags here are seed potatoes. I'm just reusing paper bags from baking. That's some proper varieties and all the crosses I made. So these are in here and in there. And the ventilation hole is coming in here, and it stays open most of the year, but when it's getting really cold I will just screw that and it will fit to the concrete. Then I'm closing the ventilation, because cold air is going down, warm air is going up, and when it's much warmer in here, the warmth will go outside and the cold air will flow in. And to not have it freezing in here when it's -30, I will close that one. So that's the storage video. If I have to stack buckets, I'm just using some firewood across the bucket and place another one on top. But that's the kind of chaotic storage, and another dehumidifier in here. Drying the potatoes before you store them for a day or two helps a lot in keeping humidity down, but they will still lose moisture during storage, and to not have it become too wet in here, it helps to have a dehumidifier, difficult word. It's not supposed to be too dry here, because then the potatoes will lose more moisture and start to shrivel and dry out and become soft. So I wouldn't recommend having electric devices for drawing down the moisture in the air. Little bag of salt does the job, much cheaper. And when you're going down getting potatoes and checking on them, you can also check for the water. These bags are new, so they're just sucking up the moisture into the salt first, and then there will be some liquid. There's a little bit of liquid, so I don't need to empty that one yet. Yes, so I'm not quite sure what to mention about this kind of thing, because it's kind of second nature for me to store potatoes, so I probably forgot a lot of things. In case you have more questions, just ask me in the comments. I'll try to explain this kind of thing. But that's it. I'll get my potatoes now. Thank you for watching and happy gardening.